No call back from, okay. It is now 6:59. I'd like to call the...
7:02. My
Pardon?
clock is on. I apologize.
Oh, I'm
7:02.
sorry. The time is 7:02. Call the zoning board meeting to order at this time. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could all stand, please, face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to point out the fire exits are the door to my left and the left rear of the room where we came through. I would like to, could you read the roll call of members, please?
Of course. Member Spencer.
Present.
Member Menard.
Present.
Member Overholt.
Present.
And Acting Chairman Sprata.
Present. And could I have the reading of the legal notice, please?
Sure. Please take notice that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Depew will hold a public hearing on April 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitou Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application of Melissa Green for the property located at 37 Terrell Street, Depew, New York, of Chapter 260, Subset 260-14B1H, to allow them to construct a driveway within the required minimum setback of 3 feet to any interior, rear, or exterior property line, and such driveway does not project greater than 5 feet directly in front of the principal dwelling. A pre-board meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the conference room of the municipal building, 85 Manitou Street, Depew, New York, and any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Okay, I believe that this evening we have one petitioner. If you could step up to the podium, please, and state your name, address, and why you are here for the record.
My name is Melissa Green. I live at 37 Terrell Street, Depew, New York, 14043, and I'm here about my widening of my driveway.
Does anyone have any, on the board, have any questions for the petitioner? Start here with Ken.
None for me, thank you.
And the other end, any questions from this side?
None, thank you.
And none for me either.
None?
No questions.
I have none. Only question that I have is, in the wintertime, what you do with the snow?
We have a snow plow guy, and he usually moves the snow to like one of the front yards out of like the way.
Okay, so snow is not a problem in the wintertime, even this past winter?
No,
Okay. And the motorhome stays where it is?
until we use it.
Yeah.
And then we park it back. Yeah. But we wanted to park it in the driveway so then we didn't have to like pay for storage for like 8 months out of the year. Because
Yeah.
I have a larger driveway. And then we had like the grass, and we were just like, instead of cutting the grass, why don't we just extend the driveway a little bit so I can park next to it, still use the garage, and we can save money on the storage for
Yeah.
the RV.
And that's a two-car garage with two car?
Yeah, it's like
Wait.
kind of like 1.5, too.
Yeah. Questions? Any questions from code or legal? We'll start with code.
No, we're good. We discussed everything with them. They're aware of what we...
Okay, and legal, Sam?
Nothing from me. Administratively, give credibility to the letter that you feel is appropriate. The last thing from the neighbor, I have no reason to not believe these nice folks, but if we're going by the letter of the law, this should be a notarized statement for us to give it full credibility. That doesn't mean it's untrue. This is a written letter from a person who purports to be the next door neighbor, and our applicant has said that's what it is. So
And he has his phone number and everything on there in case anyone had any questions.
Okay, great.
All right, any comments from the public or any questions?
I had a question. So when I first filled out that right-of-way application and stuff back in July, why didn't anyone tell me I needed a area variance then?
I don't know myself, I wasn't there.
Actually, I believe I spoke with your father about all that at that point. You weren't actually even involved. I wasn't even aware of you actually, because I spoke to him about it.
Well, you called me when I was on vacation, I believe, and you said you left a note in my door.
You have to
And
contact me.
and stuff, but I never received that because I was out of town for a wedding and it stormed in Rochester that weekend, so I'm sure it stormed here too because we get similar weather.
It could be. It could have blown away, who knows?
And then
But,
I never got anything other than another message 2 weeks later asking to follow up, and that was the first time I heard any concerns.
But
And then
the
we
concrete was already poured at that point.
and then we started filling out more paperwork as soon as we knew because we didn't know back when we got
Well,
the
your
quote.
father actually knew. I spoke to him. The neighbor's the one who actually complained when the contractor was there putting it in.
And that's why we filled out the right of way
So
application.
the right-of-way application, so you understand, isn't for the building department. The right-of-way application is for the actual apron and the sidewalk. They look to make sure that you're not widening the apron and interfere with drainage or with maybe a manhole or a telephone pole or something along those lines.
Right, but
So-
when we got that paperwork, why didn't anybody say about the other paperwork as well?
You know what? I don't remember. It's been such a long time. I know I've left many messages. I spoke to your contractor, spoke to your father. They went and poured it anyways. Reached out again, said, hey, you need to file for a variance. I didn't get any feedback whatsoever.
I never heard anything.
Then I finally talked to your contractor. The contractor brought some sarcastic note saying he's 3 inches from the property line. What's my problem? No, the problem is you're not allowed to do it. All right? There's laws and rules to follow.
But I didn't know any of that.
Well,
So-
you should have actually gotten information from the people that were doing the work for you.
We are on the record here pending a decision on your application. I think it might be wise for the purposes of poor Regina, who's going to have to type all this up, for you to have all the discourse you want once the zoning board votes, unless you wish to add anything else to the record.
No, I was just wondering why. I would have filled out the area variance application back in July, August when we were first doing the thing, but I
You didn't
didn't
know.
know that we needed that piece as well. And then we didn't hear anything for 7 to 8 months later.
Well, we did, your father, I was in the building department, and your father was told of that when he did come in that day.
But no one handed us or told us about the area variance.
No, I
paperwork.
did, when he
Then
came in that.
why did we never get the paper? I would have handed the paper in.
He explained the entire process, both Don and myself, to your father that day. Don went out and told him and looked at it and said, you need an area variance.
Okay, but wouldn't you guys provide us with that paper? How do I even, you
We
provided that
essentially-
paper back recently in March, so you would have provided it back then, and I never received that paper.
We explained what was needed. We needed a copy of the survey to go along with the right-of-way
We did
application.
submit
You did now.
No,
Back
I
then.
did back then submit a copy of the survey. I didn't know that survey wasn't going to be accurate until 8 months later now.
We did speak, and both Don and myself told your father at that point on that day that you couldn't proceed further with the pouring of it until we had the area variance. So we did make you guys.
But I didn't know about the area variance.
Your
And
father had come on your behalf.
I know, and he never gave me the paper because no one gave him the paper.
When we tell you to do something, it's not for us to come track you down and find it. It's up to you to come and find a way to make it proper. So no matter what happens here, yous are at fault. All right? We're kind of bending over backwards to help you out. This argument in front of them, they could turn around right now and say no, and then you'll have to cut it out.
I'm not trying to argue, I'm just
Well,
asking
it
why
seems
you
like
never
it seems
received
like it
that
to me.
paper.
All right? Like I said, I've been nothing but polite. I've tried helping you through this. I've talked to you, told what you needed to do, so you're here now. Let's just get it done and over with.
Okay, is there any other comment from anybody in the audience? Do you have any other further comments?
I guess not, because every time I try to say something, I get attacked.
Okay. I'll read the criteria. There are 6 criteria here in the application, and that's the next step. Okay, number 1. No, it's, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or determined or detriment to nearby properties be created by granting of the area variance? The answer was no, there will be no undesirable change to the neighborhood by granting this area variance request. The new driveway will actually make the neighborhood look better now that concrete is even and not cracked. I agree with that statement. The second criteria here is, can the benefit sought by you, the applicant, be achieved by some other method other than the area variance? And you answered no, the driveway needs to be widened in order to park 2 vehicles side by side or store the RV. It would not look right and would also be difficult to cut with a lawnmower if we left a tiny strip of grass next to the fence. It's a chain link fence. And I agree with that statement. Number 3, is the requested area variance substantial? The answer was no, the area variance will still be on my property and will not cause any harm to the neighboring property by any amount. I would disagree with that. It's, I think the variance is substantial, since the variance is 3 feet and you are less than 3 inches. That's my comment on that. Number 4, will the proposed area variance have an adverse effect or impact the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? No was the answer. The area variance will not have any impact on the environmental conditions to the neighborhood or the district by any means. I have to agree with that statement. Number 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created, which considerations shall be relevant to the decision of the Zoning Board of Appeals, but not necessarily preclude the granting of the request area variance? It was necessary, the answer is, it was necessary to get rid of the strip of grass next to the driveway to widen it for 2 vehicles to be parked side by side. Leaving a tiny strip of grass next to the fence would be difficult to cut and would be an eyesore. All the neighbors that came by say the driveway looks nice and even better than theirs. I agree. I saw it myself. It does look nice, but
Well, the neighbor across the street said that his approach and stuff is not that great and stuff, so he said that he quoted literally that ours looks better than his.
yeah, your dad mentioned that to me yesterday when I was there.
After his approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay, I agree with that statement also. And the last one is, what is the minimum area variance deemed necessary and adequate? The driveway is 4 inches away from the fence outlined by stone. I was fine with this agreement, and something, I can't read this word. Able?
And wrote a handwritten note.
And wrote a handwritten note, okay. Letter stating so last summer, that should still be on file, which it is. And I would agree with that statement. Let me see.
Don, just for the record, what is the actual variance that they're requesting?
I believe it would be 33 inches.
Thank you.
Okay, any board members would like to make a motion to approve or deny the variance as submitted and amended.
I make a motion to approve the variance as submitted.
A motion by Ken, and looking for a second,
I second the motion.
and second
By Mr. Spencer.
by Mr. Spencer. I've got a second. Roll call vote. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Member Spencer,
Yes.
Member Menard,
Yes.
Member Overholt,
Yes.
and Acting Chairman Sprata.
Yes.
4 yes, variance is granted.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I would like a motion to close the meeting. Anybody?
I make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay, Ken?
Make motion to second the motion?
Ken and John,
Close the meeting for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
meeting adjourned
Meeting adjourned.
at 7:18.
Thank you, folks.